Hello folks, welcome to another video. I hope this one finds you in good nick. Good condition, for those of you not familiar with the term. I prefer good nick. If your name happens to be Nick, well, you're halfway there, aren't you? You're at a bit of an advantage. Hello to all the Nicks in the world. I know there is at least one who watches this channel. So folks, welcome to a video that will be a first impressions. And if you're wondering, or if you're thinking, mate, you did a first impressions on this video the other day, you'd be kind of correct, half correct. I did a first impressions on the analog Byron. True. The non-pressurized analog Byron, the one without the winglets. Today's video will be a look at the Byron 58P, the pressurised version. Jesus, bloody peak hour here in the background. I'll quickly, or shortly, tell you where we are, but there's plenty of action, as there is in this location, IRL. This is, I'm guessing, real traffic happening. Beautiful morn here, where we spawned this morning. This is a payware rendition of the aircraft, or yes, aircraft and airport in question. Some of you locals, Aussie locals, maybe already guessed where we are, particularly those that have flown GA or charter in or out of this locale. Yeah, but today we're flying the pressurized version of the Byron. I love how this aeroplane looks. Right, I'm kind of a fan of the Byron in general, but I love it with the winglets, and obviously with the pressurization and turbocharging and all of that goodness, it makes this aeroplane, well, to put it mildly, shit hot, as the cool kids say. So it's going to be a first impressions, and we've got a bit of a leg stretcher involved today, folks. That might be a good segue to showing you our flight plan. So let's do that. Alright, so we're in Australia once again, folks. Apologies if you don't like watching flight simulation videos featuring this fine country. I'm Australian. I love my country, and I love committing virtual aviation in it. So that's what you're going to get today, folks. As I said, a bit of a leg stretcher. We're on the East Coast. We begin our journey in a place called Brisbane, which, as I said earlier, is quite a busy location, particularly this time of the morning. It is early morn, and a lot happens at Brizzy in the first few hours of daylight, with flights arriving from OS and lots of domestic stuff getting underway, charter, all that sort of goodness. We begin our journey in Brisbane, and we're going to do this in two legs. We're going to fly south. Let me skip to where we're going to end up. A place you may have heard of called Sydney. Kingsford Smith International is the plan. So Brisbane to Sydney, the best part of 440 nautical miles, which the Byron will do quite comfortably and in a bit of style. We're going to do it in two legs because this is an FS economy run. So we're going to earn a little bit of virtual coin. Now our first sort of leg will take us from Brisbane along the coast, overhead Heck Field, which is like a little GA recreational field to the east of Brisbane. Southport, shout out to all of my Southportian viewers. And then down the coast, we're going to land at Cooly, or what is today known as the Gold Coast Airport. Famous Gold Coast, Australia. Gets a fair bit of press around the world. A lot of people do know the Gold Coast. Yeah, it's one of those iconic destinations, and yeah, I may have spent a bit of time there in my life. So yeah, Gold Coast, we're going to touch down there at Cooly, refuel, have a bite to eat, maybe go for a surf over there at Snapper Rocks. That's what you do when you're down the Goldie. Jump back into the Byron and continue our southbound journey. Northern New South Wales, overhead Chindra, and then sort of, yeah, to the west of Kingscliff, Casuarina, overhead Cabarita. Continue south Pottsville. Where are we going to go? Brunswick Heads down there. All these great, absolutely beautiful part of the world here. Byron Bay, of course, world famous Byron Bay, one of the most expensive bloody places in Australia now. I would argue one of the biggest rip-offs in Australia as well in terms of, well, everything, particularly real estate. Continuing the journey, Lennox Head, overhead Ballina, or as we say here in Australia, particularly after we've had a few bevies, Ballina. Just quietly, you don't want to be stuck in Ballina at about 1 a.m. in the morning. There's a story behind that comment, but I'll leave it at that. Overhead Evans Head. Continuing our coastal jaunt south, beautiful Yamba, beautiful part of the world down here. Shout out to all of my Yambians. I don't know what you're called. Yamba locals. People that sort of inhabit this part of the world. Fantastic bloody luck that you have to inhabit that. Where else are we going? What's this place? Red Rock. I've never heard of Red Rock until this morning. Red Rock. I'm guessing there's a Red Rock. Well, the dirt's red. Red Rock. Yeah, okay. Righto. Continuing south, we're going to go overhead Coffs Harbour. And then coastal, overhead Nambucca Heads. Good old Nambucca. Continuing south towards... This is where I surprised myself because it's been a while since I picked the flight plan. Port Macquarie, of course. Good old Port Macquarie. Bunnings Port Macquarie. That's a destination. That's worth the trip down from Brisbane just to go to Bunnings at Port Macquarie. Shout out to all the people who happen to work at Bunnings. Watch this channel. There must be at least one. Inland towards Possum Brush or Clarendon Forest Retreat. I'm not sure why I picked that. Probably because of Possum Brush, I'm guessing. So we might, virtually brush a possum, if that's what you do. If you do happen to hail from Possum Brush, please get in touch. Anyway, then we're going to sort of take a slight dogleg and go inland, avoiding Newcastle. Because Newcastle. Shout out to all of my Novocastrian friends. I've spent some time in Newey. I didn't mind Newcastle. It's been a long time since I was there. It's probably changed a bit, and maybe not for the better, but back in the day, I got some fond memories of Newey. Anyway, overhead Necknock, and then down to Warnervale. And then we're going to approach Sydney via the northern beaches. Beautiful northern beaches. And if you can afford to live there, you're probably you're too classy for this channel, I reckon. So I'm not going to shout out to you at all. You won't be watching. Just a little sort of fun fact for you, for those of you that watch Australian soap operas, one of them being Home and Away. I'm guessing that's still running. I don't know. I don't watch it. Haven't done in years, but it's filmed up here. Yeah. But yeah, absolutely beautiful part of the world. And we'll continue south, overhead Manly, world famous Manly, and then into towards Sydney. Now, what the actual route is between Manly and Kingsford Smith, I don't know. It will depend somewhat on the weather, which is currently 190 at 10. So we're probably going to land on the 16s, probably 16 left, just because I haven't been there for a bit. Visibility's down to 5. We've got some rain. Marginal VFR. Ooh, we might even be able to fly an ILS down into there. That's been a pretty long kind of introduction. More for my benefit than for yours. But if you are interested in these sort of things, where we're going and why I'm doing this flight and all that sort of stuff, there's a segment that you've just watched. For those of you that are not, I do now put the little chapter things in my description, so you can jump ahead and to sections that hold more interest to you. But for those of you, the diehards, the true believers, as I call you, that do watch the entire video, thank you. This one's for you. Let's go flying, folks. Right, so welcome on board, folks. The lighting's changed since I fired up the sim, thanks to a very long introduction there. How long was that? 25 minutes? I don't know. Yeah, so the panel is very similar to the non-pressurised Byron, but with some pressurisation-y stuff. Technical terms on this channel, it just blows you away, doesn't it? Hey, don't I sound smart? Yeah, I'm not going to labour anything here, not like I did to the introduction anyway. I'm going to fire this beast up, hopefully. Startup procedure is, I guess, similar to the non-pressurised version, but we do need to worry about a couple of things, being cabin pressurisation. That'd be one. We probably need to worry about temperature as well. I'm having issues setting the temperature, and this, I might talk about this again during the flight, actually getting it to kind of hold a temperature. It's not like some of the other aircraft we have in the sim where you kind of set a temperature and it holds it. It kind of, there's a bit of a cheat, I think, there. This one's actually really well modelled, which is why I'm having trouble with it. But anyway, folks, I'll get us started. We are here on the sort of GA area of Brisbane Airport, sort of to the north of the field. It looks like they're departing off the 19, so we'll take 19 left turn after departure and head for Cooly. That'll only take us probably 20-25 minutes to get there. This thing gets along at a fair old clip. Sunrise coming up. That's a beautiful shot, hey? Look at that. Absolutely magic. Beautiful morning in this part of the world. Yeah, I'll see you out on the runway, folks, and we'll go flying. Alright, so all of that traffic that was around when I loaded into the sim has disappeared. I actually wanted to kind of coordinate myself in between the heavies, but anyway, we've got a clear path to departure. We're here at Alpha 1, 19 left, here at Brisbane. Quite a stuttery experience. I think this is the Orbex rendition. Brisbane Airport, in just about every sim that I've ever owned, a payware version of Brisbane, is always a performance issue in my experience, including in this sim. So we're going to go down VFR for the first leg, down at about 3,500. This is a nice day here. Beautiful. What's our wind doing? Oh, straight into the breeze as well. That's handy. That should assist me to make a half decent fist of this takeoff. So our transponder is set. We've got landing lights and all that sort of stuff. We'll take a stage of flap. 19 left, Brisbane, Gold Coast. Here we come. We'll just zoom out a little bit. So Heck Field is on a heading of 142. We really should plug that in. We'll just keep a gentle roll going. Plenty of runway here. There's about 142. We'll get some heading bug aligned as well. That roll's picking up speed, isn't it? Better hurry up, pal. You were never good at multitasking. Let's do it, folks. Oh, listen to it. Oh, yeah. That's the spirit. Back to the menu thing. Back to the map view. Here we go. 60 knots. Pretty lightly loaded. And we can kind of rotate around about there. Nice gentle rotation, mate. If you can. Hey, gentle rotation. And we'll take gear up as you do so. And away you go. Let's turn that sound down a little bit. Also get some flap coming up. Just head out to around about 500 feet. Nice early left-hand turn, which is about there. We'll come back on the juice as well. Sort of climb out 35. That nice change in pitch. And head out towards direct Hex Field. Nice leisurely sort of 150 knot cruise climb. Oh, fantastic. I know this aeroplane is designed to be flown high, and that's where you'll get the most efficiency and performance and all that good sort of stuff out of it. But I love being able to fly this one down low, having the benefit of the turbocharging and all that sort of stuff. Probably not in keeping with the spirit of the aircraft design, but that's okay. We're in a sim. We can do whatever we want. View out over Moreton Bay, Fisherman Island there. Brisbane River underneath us, and then heading out towards the right-hand side of the city, CBD there, and the greater urban sprawl that is modern Brisbane. Folks, I'll continue. I might hand fly this one most of the way. Why not? Because I can, probably because I should. And as a genuine first impressions, I probably should get a bit of a feel for the aircraft, right? Otherwise, it's not much fun. Georgie does all the work. Now we're cruising at about 175 knots, still doing 1,000 feet a minute, up towards 3,500. Fantastic. Anyway, folks, I'll see you in the latter stages of this first leg as we approach the Gold Coast. All right, settled safely in the cruise, 3.5. Beautiful southern Moreton Bay. It's mornings like this where you think to yourself, how fortunate are we, hey, to have a sim that represents our world so beautifully, and to have quality aircraft like this one. And we've got a large catalogue, a growing catalogue of quality aeroplanes. I've got to say, I'm loving this one. Sick, this analog Byron, particularly this one, although I haven't flown it much. And look, while I said this is a first impressions, technically it's a third impressions. But I won't tell anyone if you don't. And I was flying this the other day. I've picked this one up in FS Economy. So if you're part of the group, the FS Economy group, Southern Suns, and I've done a previous video on that, and special shout out to all the fellow FSEers who are part of that group. Hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all making a good bit of coin by being a part of the group. But yeah, if you are part of the group, if you want an invite, send me a private message over there in the FS Economy world, and we'll add you. And 100% pilot pay, and you get to fly this aeroplane and half a dozen others. There are some basic sort of general rules of engagement. They're on my website, which I must update with the latest fleet information. I do mix things up or buy and sell aeroplanes on a whim, really, as cash becomes available, or as I see a bit of a bargain, or pick up a pay we're add-on like this one and think, geez, I probably need to add one of those to my fleet. So this one is available to you. And absolutely love the aeroplane. It reminds me very much, surprisingly, not, of the Duke. Remember that back in the FSX P3D days? The real air Duke and the turbo or turbine Duke. Oh, wasn't that a quality bird? Hundreds of hours flying those two things, mainly in this part of the world and in New Zealand. But it reminds me very much of the Duke to fly, which is no surprise because it's also a Beechcraft. Very similar. And the Dukes had the analog panel. And I just love the analog panel. I love the Beechcraft layout of the panel in their twins. And look, we got the temperature pretty much right. 22 degrees. Pure ass. How's that? But yeah, it looks right for me, or to me. And really well represented here in this version of the Microsoft Sim. Anyway, folks, we have not far to go. Between Southport and the Goldie is a distance of 16 miles. So we pretty much around about overhead Southport. We'll begin our descent into Coolangatta. Looks like we've got a southerly breeze, yeah? Yeah, good solid southerly. So we'll land 1-4 at the Goldie, find a place to park, have a virtual feed and a virtual surf and maybe a virtual perv as well on the beach. And yeah, I'll see you for that approach segment. Alright, so final approach, 6 miles to run. That's the airport right there, folks. We've got 2 whites, 2 reds at the moment. Just got a departing aircraft, I think. I think he's going in the same direction we are, we kind of hope. I've got our speed pretty much under control. Nice 150 knot approach at the moment. We can sort of take stage of flap, and we might even take gear at this point as well. Get ourselves sorted out as we buzz the residents of beautiful Currumbin. That's this bit down here. Lovely part of the world. We'll get that speed under control so we can get our landing flap out. Wind's holding up for us, although it's turning into a bit of a cross breeze. I do hope that the southerly turns into more of a northerly up high for our second leg down to Sydney. Otherwise it could be a longish journey. It's going to be a longish video, folks, as I take landing flap. Will be a longish video. This is quite a long flight. Heavily edited for your benefit though. And once again, a very special shout out to those of you that consume the entire content that I produce. It is appreciated. I hope you do get some, I don't know, some enjoyment of some sort, some entertainment, an escape, something like that out of it. That's why I do these things for myself and for your benefit as well, I hope. Getting a little bit quick here. We're low on the lights. Getting thrown around a little bit. Wind is shearing just a tad. Not too bad. Just need to watch ourselves here. The last few videos I've really struggled with the approaches. I'm losing my mojo. It's not all I'm losing either, folks. But enough about that. 100 knots here. Slow to, I like to slow to around about 90, 95, something like that. We're on profile now. A little bit of chop. Runway 14 at Cooly. We'll try and exit about midfield and head to the GA area. But before we get there, mate, you have to get it down safely. Bloody hell, I'm really struggling with these approaches. I've got the speed right, I think. Got the configuration right. Anyway, here we go, folks. See what we can do with this touchdown. Little bit of left boot. Oh, look, we'll take that. Try and keep it on the centre line, fella. Oh, look, I'll take that. A little bit of crosswind there, wasn't there? And we're going to get off midfield. Actually, before midfield. We've done well. We'll get flaps up as we take the exit. So, folks, I'll go and find a suitable parking spot over here in the GA area, sort of 12 o'clock position, and I'll rejoin you for the beginning of our second leg as we depart the Gold Coast and head south towards Sydney. All right, so welcome back, folks. We've completed our pit stop here in Cooly. And heading back out to runway 14. There's been a little bit of action here in the last few minutes. A few arrivals, departures, movements, I think aviation people call them, don't they? I know movements is something else. We won't talk about that. We'll try and keep this one focused on aviation content. What do you reckon? That'd be a first. Anyway, I hope that all the new subscribers to the channel are enjoying some content. Thank you for joining the band of, well, I was going to say merry men, but I think I do have the odd female subscriber. No, female subscribers may be odd on this. Well, they'd have to be, wouldn't they? If you're a female subscriber to this channel, you'd have to be a little bit weird. But you're welcome. You're very welcome here. Everyone's welcome. But yeah, I hope new subscribers are enjoying the back catalogue. You're reminding me of videos that I don't remember making and asking me questions that I can't answer. So I do apologise for that. And you know, sometimes you got to understand that these videos are made at a given point in time with aircraft that I have installed at a given point in time. I uninstall a lot of stuff over time. And so some of the questions that come through relate to aeroplanes that I no longer have in my hangar, so it's a little difficult to answer. But thank you for the questions. I do want to say thank you for the engagement and for prompting an old man's memory, making him use his brain in a different way. It might prolong the usefulness of said brain. We'll switch to altitude here because we're going to be departing behind this. What is this? An A3? It's always an A330, isn't it? Weird stuff for the photogrammetry. Have a look at that. The melted buildings. It's unfortunate. I've been kind of enjoying the photogrammetry again, but I think I might have to turn it off. Yeah, get going, pal. Viewers are impatient for quality flight simulation content. Of course, I'd have to ask why you're here. So we've got flight level 200 plugged in to our altitude selector. We are going to take this bird up where it belongs. 20 degrees on the temp, we're good. We've got our altimeter, our transponder set to altitude. We're all good. We'll take flap. There we go. And we'll taxi out. Line up and wait, I think, is the current sort of phraseology, isn't it? It used to be just line up, didn't it? And then it changed because some buggers thought line up meant hook in. So now you're actually told line up, and while you're lining up, brakes. And wait your turn, you impatient bastard. What's this bloke doing? Thinking about his life's choices? Oh, now he's good. The first officers reminded him, hey, pal, those throttles need to be pushed forward. Right, so first leg here is a sort of 139. We won't bother too much with that. We'll just kind of point it in the right direction. And we'll also take a heading bug alignment. We've got local barrow set. Now we're kind of at MTOW for this aircraft because we've got 5 packs on board. And with 5 packs, you can only sort of, at least in the FSE world, you can only take about 119 gallons of fuel. We've got about 115, so we're pretty much at MTOW. Hopefully that's enough to get us to Sydney. I guess we'll soon find out. I think we've got trim okay, do we? Trim set. We've got our cabin plugged in, cabin altitude, and we'll check all that stuff shortly. Let's do this thing, folks. Oh, the bird's right on cue. Oh, love it. I'm nervous too, birds. I got enough trouble keeping this thing straight without your piercing sounds. And we've got a crosswind here. Oh no, so it's about 90. We'll start to rotate around about there. A little bit of crab into that bruise. Nice rotation. And we'll take gear up. Positive rate and all that stuff. And away we go. We'll try and hold the runway centre line. So we need to maintain that crab for a bit. Retrim. About 300 feet. We might get rid of that flap as well. Come back on the juice a little bit, which will reduce the sound in sim. Probably won't reduce the sound of the birds much. I don't have a switch for them. Kind of wish I did some days. Anyway, folks, we'll continue the journey. Do have quite a long way to go here down to Sydney. We'll take an external as we depart the Goldie. the beautiful part of the world, and you deserve to see it, even with the photogrammetry issues that we have. It's just lovely. Yeah, I'll continue the journey down along the highway. We kind of are tracking the highway on this leg, and I'll rejoin you in the cruise, and we'll have a chat about, I don't know what we're going to have a chat about. I'll make something up. That's kind of what I do on this channel. Anyway, we'll see you in the next segment. Alright, so we've just passed Byron, so we're heading, so Lennox Head will be the next waypoint, and then down into Ballina. The weather is just maintaining its loveliness. There's Cape Byron there. And the aeroplane's just performing so beautifully. Despite my best efforts to fly it clumsily. It's going really well. As I said in an earlier segment, loving this aeroplane because it's taken me back to the Duke days from FSX and P3D. Oh, how I'd love those aeroplanes to come back. The real airbirds. And the legacy as well, the Lancer legacy. But I don't think we're going to see it, unfortunately. So we need to be grateful for the what we had at the time, and many of us, I know, enjoyed those aeroplanes. But here, right now, in the Microsoft 2020 sim, we have the analog Baron, and I'm pretty happy with that. Jumping back inside, so currently forecasting 1 hour and 48 to our destination. That'll come in as we get into the cruise and sort of hopefully get a change in the wind direction, although it's holding up at the moment into a southerly. In terms of pressurization, I think we're okay. We've got real issues with temperature. Holy crap. Do we ever? What's happened to the temp? We might have to put the blower on. So we're okay. We'll get that up towards 20 degrees. Oh, that's coming up quite quickly. I just haven't found the sweet spot for the different knobs and switches, positions and all that sort of stuff. And of course it does vary. The temperature's not always the same. So we're warming them up now. In terms of, what am I looking for? Where am I looking? Here. This thing here. A little bit hard to see in the way the lighting is. We've got just over 100 gallons remaining, and I think that says 1 hour 59 minutes worth of fuel. Currently forecasting 145. So in terms of legal reserves, we're in trouble. That wouldn't be the first time, but I do think that time's going to come in a little bit. I think we're okay. We're pressurising appropriately. Yeah, we are. Our cabin is climbing. All of the good stuff. Yeah, it's going well. Happy with that. As Warwick Capper would say. At this point, a lot of you are wondering, who the hell is Warwick Capper? Look him up. Look up some of his stuff on YouTube. You'll have a good laugh. But anyway, folks, I'll see you in the cruise somewhere between here and Sydney. Well, this is awkward. What did I say earlier about this might be a bit of a long video? Yeah, I had a sim crash. About 3 seconds after concluding that segment, or about 15 seconds after invoking the name Warwick Capper. And the universe decided that's enough flying for you today, pal. Because this video could go right off the rails if you're going to talk about Mr. Capper. So, my apologies, folks. But the image currently on your screen is where this video will end. The universe has decided that I have something else I need to be doing, obviously. And, yeah, life's too short to fight the universe. So, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for your company, folks. Apologies for the unplanned ending. That's how it goes sometimes. I've become quite used to it over the couple of years that I've had this sim in particular. But thank you for your company. Appreciate your support. Thank you, a special thank you for your kindness in response to my previous video about the King. I really did appreciate those comments during a pretty tough time. So thank yous all round, and We'll see you again next time. Bye for now.